You're not as original as you think you are. For a long time, I actually fell for the lie that my design style was mine. I thought my obsession with minimalism, the quiet, functional, get-out-of-the-way aesthetic, was just a product of my own superior taste, or my years in the trenches of design projects. I thought I had invented this style to strip away the useless and keep only what works. But the older I get, the more I realize something. I did not invent anything at all. I inherited everything. Welcome to Design Unhinged. I'm Pat. I've spent my career as a designer building digital systems that try very hard not to annoy the hell out of people using them. Today we're going deeper than UI trends or whatever gradients are in this month. We're talking about design DNA. Because your design decisions, they don't come from a vacuum. They come from your culture, environment, and the literal objects you grab from your kitchen drawer when you're 5 years old. We all come from different cultures, which appears in our designs in different ways. But for my roots, we need to go to a land with 1,000 lakes. Finnish design did not start in a fancy studio with an expensive espresso machine. It began with the cold, hard reality of the north. We're talking long, brutal winters, short summers, and a historical lack of resources that makes excess look like a death wish. When you live in a place where your environment is actively trying to freeze you, your design develops a very specific personality. It's not loud or theatrical. It's practical, reliable, and deeply understated. In Finland, we have this concept called sisu. It's not the cute motivational version you see on tourist mugs. It's a quiet, gritty resilience. The habit of just continuing, even when things are shit, without making a big scene about it. So in design terms, that translates to a relentless persistence with the problem itself. You don't decorate your way out of a bad user flow or slap a pretty animation on a broken feature to hide the mess. You keep grinding and refining until it actually works. Showiness is just unnecessary here. It's viewed with suspicion. If your interface is too loud or performative, the first question we ask is not, is it beautiful, but is this compensating for something? You can see this philosophy clearly in objects that define the Finnish home. Take the ubiquitous orange Fiskars scissors. They're so normal that they're almost invisible. They have a simple, elegant shape, a balanced weight, and they do exactly one thing perfectly. They're designed to disappear into the task, not to demand a thank you every time you cut paper. Or if you look at the furniture by Alvar Aalto. Bent plywood, warm human proportions, his chairs don't try to dominate the room or scream, "Look at me, I'm a masterpiece." They feel like they grew there. They belong there. But perhaps the ultimate embodiment of this DNA was Nokia 3310. That phone wasn't famous for its UI or cool factor. It was famous because it was a tank. It worked everywhere, survived being dropped off balconies, and it lasted for days on a single charge. It didn't try to impress you with a spectacle. It just worked. And because it worked, you never had to think about it. So the core lesson I absorbed, long before I knew what design stood for, was that objects should support life, not performance. Now there's something I want to clear up. Finnish design often gets lazily labeled as minimalism, but modern digital minimalism is just visual reduction, making things look empty so they seem sophisticated. But what I'm talking about is reduction, and there's a massive difference. Reduction asks, what is the absolute smallest number of elements needed to make this thing work? It's not about aesthetics, but about usefulness. So if a feature doesn't serve the user, it's not minimalist to hide it in a hamburger menu. It's reductive to kill it entirely. And obviously, Finland is not the only one here. You've got German functionalism, the Dieter Rams school, something I fell in love with at university. It's rooted in industrial precision. It's about perfection of the machine and the logic of the system. And then you have the Japanese reduction, rooted in Zen aesthetics and the harmony of space. It's poetic. It's about the ma, the space between things. It's almost like the user is a guest in a tea ceremony. But the Finnish reduction? It's a bit grittier, rooted in pure, unadulterated practicality. It doesn't care about the system or the poetry as much as it cares about the utility. It just asks, is it going to help me get through a dark, freezing February? in an ordinary home. It is design born from necessity. It's not trying to be a masterpiece. It's trying to be a tool that doesn't break when life gets hard. So what happens when this practical DNA hits the infinite canvas of digital design? Suddenly you have unbound pixels, infinite animations, and zero physical constraints. Modern interfaces are obsessed with spectacle. We have glass morphism, 3D micro animations, and gradients that look like a unicorn threw up on your iPhone. But when I'm building a complex digital system, I find those same Finnish ghosts whispering in my ears. Does this animation help the user? What happens if we just carefully pick it up and put it in the garbage bin? Is the detail useful, or is it just fashionable bullshit? At an early part of my career, I remember working with a design director from a completely different culture. They wanted bold colors, expressive forms, and loud theatrical interfaces, whereas my instinct was to simplify and reduce. Thankfully, the product itself settled the argument. The function of the system required clarity instead of bold theatrics, and we met in the middle. Not because we compromised on our styles, but because the function demanded that we cut the noise. So here's the red line, something that changed the way I work. Once you understand your roots, you can stop treating them as the truth and realize that your style is actually a lens. My lens is clarity and functional reduction. It's a powerful tool, but also a bias. Other lenses can be equally valid. Yours might be expression, storytelling, or vibrant communal joy. The breakthrough for me was realizing that I don't have to fight my roots, but I should own them. Understanding your DNA makes your design stronger, because you stop hallucinating that your taste is objective. You can start using your heritage as a deliberate choice and be the master of your lens. If you're a designer and you're feeling the pressure to make things pop, I want you to stop and look at where you come from. Stop treating your cultural background as hallucination or a bias. It's your greatest innovation tool. Here's how that shows up for me. If I find myself hiding features, I just kill them instead. If I find myself adding delight to distract from a confusing flow, I fix the flow instead. And if I find myself following a trend because it's safe, I remind myself by going into the kitchen and opening a drawer and picking up a pair of scissors. Design taste is not personal, it's a lineage. My style comes from a tradition that values usefulness over spectacle, but what I'm telling you to do is to go back to the objects you used as a child. Find the DNA of your own heritage and bring it into your pixels. That's how we create new joyful experiences, not just by copying Apple's clean look, but by being ourselves. If this video resonated with you, subscribe and join the chaos. And tell me in the comments what cultural roots are shaping your design decisions. Because here on Design Unhinged, we don't just design interfaces, we inherit philosophies. I'm Pat. Thanks for watching. I'll see you on the next one.